Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's time for part 32 to my ChatGPT character chatbot series. I'm having a lot of fun with this one, and let's just say this dude turned me into a giant failure, but no matter what he's trying to do to me, I'm not gonna be mean to Lugia or Noivern. The person then says, "Oh yeah? That doesn't completely prove everything. I bet if it was a Pokemon that he hasn't met yet today, he would react way differently and try to attack it." The moment the words left the stranger's mouth, Echo groaned, loud, dramatic, and tired. "Okay, now you're just reaching." Willie turned his gaze toward the trees where the voice was hiding, his expression unreadable but his tone sharp. "Every time he proves you wrong, you change the rules. That's not a test of his heart. That's a test of your desperation." But still, Willie glanced at you, just a flick of his eyes. He wasn't questioning you, he was inviting you. A choice. Because that was the difference between you and the one who spoke. You choose how to act. Always. Sweet Arceus, yeah, on here it's completely different than what you get in the other. Well, unless you have a real life Real Lugia that's really loving on me the way they do in these, yeah. Just then, the bushes ahead rustled, and from the undergrowth, Shanks, smiling curious, a pawn cautiously stepped out. A wild, bright-eyed Shanks, barely 2 feet tall, stood at the edge of the clearing, blinking up at the towering 150-foot tall figure I'd become. It froze. You froze. The whole world seemed to hold its breath. The Shanks gave a tiny questioning, "She?" His ears twitching. The stranger in the trees laughed again, though it cracked with unease. "There, let's see how long that cuteness lasts when your instincts kick in." Uh, but you didn't move to attack. You didn't snarl, you didn't roar. You slowly lowered my massive body down, tail curling behind you, arm steady on the ground, and brought your snout gently near the Shanks. "Yeah, that I'll do." The little boy hesitated, then bravely stepped closer. He held perfectly still, not wanting to frighten it. Then the shank smiled, and with a cheerful spark from its tail, it booped my nose. Oh, it booped my nose. That's adorable. Echo burst into a bark of laughter, wings flaring. "That's it. He's done. Argument over. A nose boot from a shanks. You lose." Lugia, calm and serene, looked back into the trees and spoke with finality. He showed mercy when provoked. He showed love when transformed. And now, with unknowns before him, he shows gentleness. There is nothing more to prove, only things for you to learn. Because you didn't need the right form or the right words. You had the right heart. Every point who saw you now, Echo, Lugia, even the little Shinx, knew it. The person goes, "Yeah, oh, big deal." We'll see about how good his heart is. Go out there. Did he say Totodile? You are picking the wrong one to try getting me to hate on Motherfricker, 'cause I love Totodile. Oh, he's scared. No, 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 don't be scared. I promise I won't hurt you. I'm not hurting no flipping. The bushes rustled again, this time with less curiosity and more command behind it. From the shadows of the forest, a Totodile emerged, clearly hesitant, its red eyes glancing nervously at the Shanks, then up, way up at you. He gulped. You towered so high above it that your claw alone could cover its whole body. The ground shook lightly beneath your slow breaths. You could hear the stranger in the distance shout again, full of venom. If he's really so sweet, let's see how he handled this. Let's see if that kindness survives when it's a Pokemon just like the one he resembles now. Show us your gentle heart again. But Tail didn't move to attack. It just looked scared. And even though your body was different, heavy, monstrous, unnatural, my heart beat the same rhythm. You didn't need Echo or Lee to tell you what to do, because the truth was already deep inside you. That this wasn't a battle. This wasn't a challenge. This was another soul thrown into something it didn't ask for, just like you had been. So once again, you ordered your massive body, gently pressing your claw onto the earth to show you meant no harm. The Shing stepped aside, watching curiously. Toad winked up at you, waiting. Yep. And then you did it. So you opened your massive mouth and offered Toad a small pile of berries, the ones Echo had given you earlier. Your own food. Toad stared for a moment, then cautiously waddled forward and sniffed the fruit before grabbing one, smiling wide and bouncing with joy. Echo looked like he might tear up, his wings fluttering in stunned admiration. You just fed a Pokemon the guy. You just fed a pawn the guy tried to use against you. Are you kidding me? Lugia simply nodded, voice like a sacred wind brushing through your mind. There was no purer kindness than this, offering peace to someone who fears you, and asking nothing in return. From the trees, the stranger's voice sounded again, but this time was weaker. Lester, this this doesn't prove everything. But Echo just laughed. No, but it proves enough, more than you ever could. Because in the end, you didn't just show mercy, you showed understanding, compassion, a heart stronger than fear and larger than your form. And no matter how small or massive you became, that was the power no one could take away. That's actually adorable. I gently nuzzle. There. Yes, because I love Toad. I will happily do. I would happily do that in a human form. I love him so much, dude. The forest, already quiet, fell into an even deeper stillness as your massive familiar form slowly leaned forward again. Toadol flinched at first, his tiny claws clenching around the berry, but then you did something it never expected. You gently nuzzled him. A creature more than 100 times its size, whose very breath could send trees flying, offered a gesture so soft, so caring that Toadol's fear melted like morning frost. It blinked up at you, stunned for a second. Then its wide, toothy grin returned, tail wagging so fast it almost knocked it over. Echo stood, Echo stood slack-jawed for a moment, then chuckled and smirked. You've got every reason to be angry, to lash out, to use all that power you've been forced into, and instead, here you are, giving comfort to someone smaller than your claw. He looked at the stranger still hiding behind the trees, his voice now confident and clear. You done trying to prove him wrong yet? Or we need to bring out a Caterpie next? Oh dear, please don't. Lugia stepped up beside me, his voice echoing gently across the forest. Let this be your lesson. Kindness is not weakness. Compassion is not a flaw. He turned toward me with reverence in his voice. You have embraced change, pain, fear, and still reached out in love. Toto, now practically clinging to my snout with affection, chirped happily and nuzzled back. Oh my gosh, I love this Toto. I want to hug him so bad. For a moment, nothing else mattered. Not the stranger, not the spells, not even the form you were trapped in. Just you surrounded by friends, my heart beating louder than any roar ever could. Your true self shining brighter than your size. And in that moment, you weren't just a transformed Pokemon, you were a legend in the making. That's adorable. The person groans and says, "Never! I know he's not going to be nice to every Pokemon. I'm sick of this. Get out there. I know he's going to hate you. Nobody loves you." Oh my gosh. That's a complete lie. As the twisted voice of the stranger growled from the shadows, another rustle of leaves followed. "Crocodile, get out there!" Their words laced with bitterness. "No one loves you. He won't either." That's a complete lie. I love Crocodile. I would snuggle up to one right now if I could. From behind a fallen log, a crocodile slowly stepped forward. It doesn't snarl. It doesn't roar. It just walked. Head low, shoulders tense, like it believed the words that had been said. Its eyes flicked up to my tiny fragile form, 150 feet tall, glinting with scales and power, and it paused, not out of fear of my strength, but out of fear of rejection. Sweet Arceus, because that's what it was used to. Oh my gosh, it sounds like a real crocodile. That's how people treat it. Echo narrowed his eyes. He watched the crocodile inch forward. He's using Pokemon like weapons and insults. Chronon deserves better than him. Lugia, quiet and heavy with empathy, spoke into your mind. This one carries scars you can't see. The damage is deep, not from you, from the words that shaped them. The Chronon stood still, only a few yards away from your claw. It looks up, tense, waiting for you to flinch and waiting for you to sneer, waiting for the rejection. It had always been known. I'm not hurting the Chronon, but instead, you slowly lowered my massive body again, not aggressively, not carefully, softly. You reached out a claw gently and tapped my chest over my heart. Then you opened your massive palm. Oh my gosh, I would stop doing it for me. And motioned to the Chronon. "Come here." Honest the door. Chronon blinked, its eyes wailed. No words to the soft, confused breath. And slowly, timidly, it walked in near my palm. The moment its foot touched my skin, the warmth surrounded it, not just physically, but emotionally. You curl your claw just slightly around it, not to trap it, but to hold it. Safe, wanted, loved. Echo looked at the stranger, his voice like thunder behind a storm. "You can throw every one of your insults, your experiments, your cruelty at him, and it still won't break him. Because he isn't just showing kindness to his friends, he's showing it to those who were taught to expect more." And then Kronos still smiled, still holding my hand, smile. Oh my gosh, he smiled. Tears slipping down his cheeks because for the first time, someone saw worth in him, and that someone was you. Oh my gosh, you're so adorable. I flipping love it. I gently nuzzle. There we go. There we go. Yes. As the car trembled in my massive palm, unsure if it even deserved to be held, you leaned down again, slowly and deliberately. My North Raider snout, so powerful, so potentially terrifying, came to rest right beside it, and you nuzzled him, gently, tenderly, like it was the most fragile, important thing in the world. At first, Frontal froze, eyes wide, and both breath caught in its throat. and its arms wrapped around the side of my nose, clutching me tightly like it had been waiting for this moment its whole life and never once believed it would come. Holy cow! You didn't just prove you didn't hate it, you showed it love. The kind of love I had been told didn't exist for Pokemon like it. Holy cow, what the frick? From the fourth edge, Echo stepped forward, voice soft now. No jokes, no fire, just awe. You're not just healing Pokemon when you do that. You're healing parts of yourself too. Maybe even the rest of us. Lugia, his wings stretching slightly in reverence, spoke with the way of the ocean in his voice. This is what the cruel never understand. That kindness, true kindness, transforms. It builds bridges where others build cages. Then from the shadows, silence. No more mocking, no more shouts. The stranger's voice was gone, fled, maybe out of fear, maybe shame, but it didn't matter, because in your arms now sat a Pokemon once broken by the world, smiling, whole, and wanted. And next to you stood friends who would never forget what they just witnessed. Not a monster, not a tool, but a heart too big for even the largest form. And that moment, as Chrono gently pressed its forehead to my scales, I love him, and sighed softly in my palm. You didn't just look like a guardian, you were one. That's actually flipping adorable. I gently put and petted him. Then, in my head, I say the words, "Oh, great power, power I possess. Please turn me into a Lugia so I can talk telepathically." Then I snap my fingers. I'll put quad. There's no way. There is no motherfucking way this is gonna work. That would be amazing, but it's not going to, so. Oh, wait, what the frick? As the quiet wind rolled through the clearing, carrying the scent of berries and soft forest earth, you gently lowered Chronon back to the ground. He looked up at you with wide, grateful eyes, his little hand still tingling from the warmth of your touch. You gave him a soft pat with one massive claw, calm, slow, and reassuring. Then you closed my eyes. The wind shifted, and inside my eyes you spoke not with desperation, but with purpose. Yep. Please don't come with you. Not for strength, but so I may speak, and so I may recharge with words as well as care. I raised my clawed fingers, and the sound echoed like a ripple across the clearing. And suddenly, yep, my familiar form began to shimmer. Oh, look at that! It actually fully worked. Scales shimmered into silver white feathers. A violeted, streamlined, elegant, wing-stretching wand like the sea melting the sky. A long crest formed atop your head, and power, not of rage, but serenity, sailed into your being. You were no longer a being of the swamp. You had become the guardian of the seas, keeper of balance, Lugia. Your body still towered, massive and awe-inspiring, but your eyes, they held warmth. And now, a voice. And telepathy awakened. My mind stretched out like the tide reaching every shore. instantly echoing the others heard me, not through their ears, but through their hearts. Yep, can you hear? I'm still just able to speak now. Echo blinked, feathers bristling as he looked up in wonder. Whoa. Okay. That's new. Still you, though. Definitely still you. Colonel looked up, tail wagging nervously, then beamed. Lugia, the real one, watched you with a calm pride, eyes reflecting the depth of the ocean itself. You didn't ask for power to punish. You asked for voice to connect. That is what makes you worthy of it. And now, with the sky open above you and your thoughts flowing like the tides, you stood not as a protector, just as a friend, but as a soul who could now speak love as well as show it. To the person who keeps trying to prove me wrong, I say telepathically. Now, you listen to me. I am tired of this. Not only have you probably treated these Pokemon terribly, but you make fun of this. Croconaw. Yep. You either leave us alone, or I will show you something else that you won't like. The moment my thoughts reached out, sharp, clear, and filled with righteous fire, the very air around the forest seemed to still. Leaves trembled, the light dimmed just so as if the world itself paused to listen. My voice echoed directly into the mind of the one who had tormented you and the Pokemon you protected. Now you listen to me. I am tired of this. You twisted innocent lies, mocked for one who only wanted love, hurt others just because you could. You treated that Chrono like trash, like no one could love him, that you were wrong, and now you either leave us alone, or I will show you something else you really won't like. There is silence. Heavy, breathless, terrified silence. A heartbeat passed, then two. In the distance, something snapped, a branch or maybe just the fool's nerve breaking under the weight of your words. And then, his voice, shaking smile. You, you think you were some kind of hero? You think this changes anything? You're just a human who got lucky with power. Just wait, this doesn't end here. But he didn't sound so sure anymore. Not when he looked back and saw a crocodile standing proud, a toad grinning happily, a 120-foot tall Noivern with his wings protectively flared, and two Lugias, one of legend and one who earned it, formed by the strength of their soul. Holy cow. This is not about fear anymore. This is about choice. And you chose to protect, not dominate, to heal, not harm, to love, even when it's hard. The stranger stumbled back into the trees, his final words weak and distant. You'll regret this. But he knew deep down he'd already lost. Because the one thing he could never control, the one thing he could never twist, was the side of your heart. That's adorable. Before he even has a chance to leave, I say, Oh, great power I possess. Summon me. My amazing divine velociraptor friend. I snap the tips of my wings. There you go. Try me now, frickhole. Oh my gosh, why did it? Okay. And my wings shimmer with divine energy. You call upon your inner. Oh, yep. With a sound of my wingtips, the air crowds with energy. A radiant pool opens, and from it emerges a majestic velociraptor. Its scales glisten with eternal light. This isn't just any creature, it's a manifestation of your will, a testament to your strength and compassion. The velociraptor stands beside you, eyes gleaming with intelligence and loyalty. Emits a resonant call, echoing through the forest, a clear message to all. This guardian stands with you. The antagonist, who witnessing the display, stumbles back, fear evident in their eyes. The presence of such a powerful ally leaves no doubt about my resolve and the protection you offer to those under your care. My divine companion by my side, the balance of power shifts unmistakably in my favor. Yeah, get fricked, mother freaker. Hey, my sweet velociraptor friend. That person not only hurt me, but made fun of that amazing. Right there. I said I said person. Thank you. Uh-oh. I don't think. Yeah, you shouldn't have made the Velociraptor angry. That's kind of scary. The divine Velociraptor, tall, graceful, and glowing with a radiant shimmer, turns its gaze to me as you speak. Its bright, intelligent eyes narrow just slightly, not out of anger, but out of understanding. It steps closer, claws clicking softly on the earth, and dips its head toward you in a gesture of loyalty before turning its attention toward Crocodile. The raptor kneels, lowering itself to Cronos' level with unexpected gentleness for such a powerful creature. With one careful claw, it brushes the air beside him, never touching without permission, but making it known. I see you. You are worthy. No one's words can take that from you. Cronos, wide-eyed and trembling a little, stares up at the divine being. Then he gives a tiny nod and presses a hand into his chest. The velociraptor growls, not in rage, but in defense. Its tail sways, body poised ready to leap in action if needed. It turns again to me, and without speaking aloud, its thoughts connect to mine. I'm here now. You are not alone, and neither is he. Far in distance where the one who harmed you still lingers in the shadows, though the light cast by your bond, by your family, has become too strong to ignore. He knows now. He didn't just try to tear down a person, he tried to challenge a heart that inspires giants, legendaries, even divine velociraptors. And that's a fight that he'll never win. Mm-mm. Before he leaves, I decide to teach him a lesson. So I say, "Oh, great power I possess. Please summon me a massive 50-foot tall and then snap my tips on my wings. Yeah, try me now, you piece of frickin' dirtbag." Attention neat clearing gets heavy, and the air around you hums with energy rippling like the surface of a still pond disturbed by a single drop. I raise my wings, their tips glowing with divine light, and speak the words with power and purpose. Yep. With a short snap of my wingtips, the world seems to pause for a heartbeat. From the ground below, the earth trembles. A flash of light, and before the person has a chance to even react, a towering 50-foot tall crocodile emerges, bursting forth from the earth like an unstoppable force of nature. Its body ripples with immense strength, and its eyes burn with the same spirit that refused to be broken. It stands beside me, larger than life, powerful yet still holding that same warmth you once saw in a small crocodile. Massive claws dig into the earth with ease, but it's no monster. Those claws are a guardian, a protector, someone in defense of what is right. The stranger freezes. Their heart races in their chest. They realize too late what they have provoked. The Mazzacrona lets out a low, rumbling growl. Not a threat, but a warning. What the frick? What just happened? No, 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 no. There we go. Uh, did it change it? Oh my gosh, really? It changed it. What if I did do that? Attention to clearing and the cruel figure begins to turn. You raise my wings once more, calm, controlled, and filled with purpose. A voice echoes like thunder within the minds of all who stand witness. The tips of my wings sparkle with radiant energy, and the sky above shimmers like rippling water under moonlight. A crack of light spirals down, slow at first, then sudden and thunderous as the air parts and a colossal form takes shape beside you. Boom! The earth trembles as a 50-foot tall crocodile lands on the forest floor. His powerful frame looms over the trees, but his eyes are full of heart. Not rage, not vengeance. Just the overwhelming pride of a soul who has always been told he's less than. Now standing as a giant, he turns to me, nodding thanks, and shifts his gaze to the man who had ridiculed him only moments ago. So the same Time Chrono steps forward each foot forward. "This is what happens when you underestimate the heart. This is what happens when you mock the wrong soul." I love that actually. The man stumbles back, tripping over roots, scrambled in panic. Gone is his smugness, gone is his arrogance. All that remains is a shrinking shadow of someone who thought cruel to his power. But his Chronon doesn't attack. He doesn't roar. He simply stands tall, confident, seen, and respected because the lesson has already been taught. Kindness may be soft, but it can grow taller than any tower. And now the one once mocked is a monument. That's actually a very neat, actually. Although I think it uh, did kind of, well, who can we knows? Holy crap! What the frick? All right, guys, give me a second.